that thumb. He's looking at a return either week 8 or week 10. So probably somewhere around 6.5 weeks to 6.5 weeks to 8.5 weeks for Dak Prescott. Week 10 will be against the Packers after the bye. So that is the timetable for Dak Prescott. As far as the potential trade options, my understanding is the Cowboys' priority is to go internal, to go to Cooper Rush, someone they believe in, certainly not a household name.
Said they're sitting in these rooms right now trying to figure out if their backup quarterback can get through 6-8 weeks. Or are there other options? Are there other quarterbacks out there? I think it's too late.
I do think he will keep them afloat, make some throws, keep these boys on the football field. They will run the ball well. They are fine. That schedule is what we call boo-boo the foo-foo.
Hey guys, welcome back to Primetime Studios. Like always, I'm your host, Primetime Phil, and today we're going to discuss, well, the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Dallas Cowboys. But of course, I'm Primetime Phil, and my co-host that is right beside me is, of course, GameTime Bryan. How's it going, Bryan? How's it going this week, man? How you feeling?
Primetime Phil.
Yeah,
What's
man.
going on, Primetime? Yes, GameTime Bryan, or otherwise known as the Mailman. Ready to roll, baby.
Yeah, man. How's your week? How's your, after this
It's been a rough
interesting
week, man. It's been a real rough week. I'm sure all of us Cowboy fans, it's rough, man. It's the worst way to start a season. It kind of like a gut punch, like type of deal where you're excited. I just did not see that coming, Phil. I mean, listen, I don't mind a loss. A loss is a loss. I mean, anybody could deal with a loss. We were the underdog in the game, but I expected us to win a close game. But man, that was rough. It's like a gut punch. But now that we've had a few days, I think it's going to be good. I think we'll be okay. It's going to be ugly for a while, but we need to find a way to get a win.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll be this week.
Last year,
stay tuned.
Last year, I went to the game. I was excited. I thought we had a chance. Of course, it was a very close game. This year, I'm just happy that it wasn't this year with everything. It just would have been really hard to sit through. So after that long week, it's good to see people that are coming back into the chat. Jake Meeker, of course, Mary AI, Mary Alvarez, Angelica Baron, our new moderator, Joe Gonzalez, our great family, of course, Gina Thorne. Just an amazing.
Jack Meeker's back,
and I got Eastside Harold with his "Go Texans." I got to respect the stick with your team type of atmosphere.
Yo, man, I don't listen. The props up to Eastside. He's always here for us. But yeah, it's good to have Jack back. I know he's running. I talked to him on Twitter. It is the busy season. I see JoJo's in the house.
Let me let you know, guys, if you can hear that background music. I want to start bringing that out as well while we have it. So, I don't know how much you can hear. I can't hear anything. But anyways, as we talk about the Cincinnati Bengals, of course, the biggest thing is, of course, the quarterback position and what happened this past week with Dak having surgery. And, of course, Jerry Jones does not want the ticket sales to go down. So, of course, he's telling us that it's going to be about 4 weeks, man. You hear Dak going through high-fiving, kind of giving fist bumps with that right hand. So I guess there's a little bit of brightness in there. But when you look at the quarterback position, of course, things that they did within their roster, of course, Will Greer being brought up from the practice squad, Cooper Rush, of course, being your quarterback. How do you feel about the quarterback position going into this game?
Listen, it's a one-game situation. I think Cooper Rush is actually going to be okay. If you guys were watching the game last week, Dak was off. I don't know what it was. We've seen this from time to time, but that's not normally Dak. Dak doesn't normally. He just seemed like he could never get himself in a rhythm, and I think that has a lot to do with Kellen Moore. But something was up with Dak. He was off. I think for one game, I think Cooper, you're actually going to like what you see. I think they're going to rally the troops and play a good game. Whether they win, man, this doomsday defense here, that's why I wore this shirt. That's got to be the creed of the day. They need to play some stifling defense in order to win this game. But yeah, I'm good with him for one game. I would like to have, if it doesn't go good, or if it's rough, or if there's nothing exciting, and we're I would bring in Greer and see if that would create a spark, because I think Greer has a bigger upside than Rush. Rush is a good, if you need a game, but if you need a stretch of games, Greer is more he's more mobile, and I think that'll be better for us.
Yeah, I agree. I like Greer's, I think with that style of football comes turnovers, obviously. Had a really Brett Favre kind of gunslinger mentality, doesn't afraid to throw it between coverages, which I don't mind, but at the same time, where you look at Dak is in between there. He has his moments where he'll throw something that's mostly to somebody that he relies on, like a Dalton Schultz, but when it comes to the other guys, right, he tries to keep it and, of course, takes sacks and stuff like that. So there's the frustration.
Jack says we need old school Parcells football and we need to run the ball. Listen, he's 100% right. But here's the deal. We need to get a lead and then just maul them. But, like last week, they had, them running the ball was never an issue last week. Yeah. They could do it. It was Kellen Moore getting them behind the chains, behind the scoreboard. It was like a slow death. It was 3-0, then it was 6, then it was 6-3, and then we were always like reaching up. And you need to have a lead, so there might need to be some play action early, but we need to start with running the ball. And Jack's right.
Yeah, man, I agree. Whether you have one or two running backs that you're trying to use, that's not really the argument that we're getting into now. It's just committing to the run and actually doing it. I mean, that's our argument. And there's so many. I've had my share of frustrations when it comes to Kellen Moore. So I don't even know where to begin. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, Mark Hutchin. I think Tampa knew our offensive playbook. Yeah. They came out and basically rubbed our noses at it and said, well, listen, we knew you guys were going to run, or we knew Kellen was going to run what worked last year. And it's like I was saying earlier on Mark's stream, I said, that's the reason why it's hard to beat a team twice in a year, because usually, the team that loses the first time, they know the game plan. They have... No, they already saw what you did that was, successful. It's hard for a team that was already successful to then change it up. Yeah. What New England Patriots were doing when they were winning their Super Bowls. Every week they were changing it up. You couldn't get a beat on where they were coming from, offensively or defensively. So,
yeah, I agree with
Mark's
you.
Right there.
I think on the other side, when you're an opponent of the Dallas Cowboys, you can tend to look at us and know that Kellen Moore is not changing it up. So I definitely agree with you in the sense of a good coaching staff definitely adjust to the defenses they're playing, the offenses as well. And that's what you see more on the side of Dan Quinn. I
think he needs to be a bit more aggressive.
Dan Quinn?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when you look at
earlier in the game to try and get an edge, I hate to say it, but we may actually have to score a point. We may need a pick six. I think we need to bring the pressure.
Well, I mean, remember who you were.
Was sacked 7 times last week.
Yeah, remember who you were facing last week as well. You had thank you, Kira. Hey, my dog coming in, making her presence known. But when you look at Kellen Moore, I mean, you know, she made me lose my train of thought. Anyways,
yeah, you were talking about Tampa last week.
Let's see. Well, Tampa. No, I've lost it. It's gone. It's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone.
I'm gonna sneeze because it's allergies. It's allergy season.
Yeah.
So.
Well, when I look at the practice squad, I was jumping in there because I was wondering what the moves were, because obviously you saw to the practice squad come off. I mean, you had Ridgeway get released and basically going to have that move to go to the practice squad if he doesn't get guaranteed to start somewhere.
On him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the rundown here.
Go ahead.
They sent Basham to IR with a deep thigh bruise. So Basham has been sent to IR. Ridgeway was cut, but the expectation is to bring him. They have to wait till 3:00 on Monday to bring him back onto the practice squad.
Okay.
So I think it's Monday. Yeah, it's Monday. So he'll be back unless, hey, listen, if he gets picked up by somebody else, then more power to him. But he will be on our practice squad, which I think that's not a bad move. Yeah. He'll be back, people. Everybody's panicking. He will be back. I love weed. What's up, my man?
What's going on?
Thanks for the follow on my new YouTube channel.
Yeah,
I got a new
Bryan.
YouTube channel. I'm still going to be here with Prime. We're still doing our thing all the time. I just felt like I needed to get my own channel. I'll do some short stuff. I posted a video the other day. It was on the fly. I just wanted to see if I could do it on my cell phone. So it wasn't the best, but come check me out at GameTime, Bryan. But you will find me here with Phil. We're rolling together because I think we're good. So I enjoy doing it.
Yeah, let me throw this project one here. GameTime, Bryan. Boom! There we go. Some graphics I put together. But yeah, definitely check. I definitely subscribed. I saw you on there talking about Des Bryant wanting to come and.
Yeah, that was a little bit of I was reaching there, but I did read. Yeah, but I did read an article. Des is willing to come back. Listen, we'll see how the season goes, but I equated to Allen Iverson and Philly. Remember Allen Iverson came back a few years later. It ain't going to be at the same level, but he could offer a certain mentorship, to these young guys. I mean, you see what's going on with Tolbert right now. Tolbert can't even get on the field, which I don't like that. I think that's not smart. I think, let the guy play, but we're going to see Noah Brown for 70% of the snaps. It looks like.
So right now I'm trying to
go with the young
find
guys.
your channel here because people are asking for the link. Let me see if I can find it.
Jack Meeker, thanks, my man. Yeah, it just if you look up GameTime, Bryan, maybe Phil can put it on there. There's not much there. There's only one video. I was at work. I wanted to see how it worked, but I'll be putting more stuff up there.
Yeah, you would think this thing would be alphabetical, but
I need to send Prescott to the IR. Mark Hutchins. Listen, I don't know, Mark. I don't know what was up with him last week. He needs a couple weeks. He needs a couple of weeks to reevaluate. I mean, I really wish we had John Kitna back in the fold because I think that would help him a lot. I think Kellen Moore is just killing this kid. We need all the help we can get, Link. Yeah, Link. I know, man. We need the doomsday defense, dude. We need something. I mean, we need serious defense, and we need to have something happen. I think the game's going to be close, though. I really do. I think it's going to be close, and we'll have a chance to win at the end.
Yeah, I agree. I really, honestly, at the beginning of the week, I was right on that board of yeah, this is going to go really bad. I can't see Cooper Rush doing anything. But when I really thought about what Cooper Rush was actually able to do with this offense, I mean, he was able to move the ball. He's not going to sling it all over the field. He's not going to be the greatest show on turf. But when it comes to the rest of managing a game, I mean, that's what you want your backup quarterback to do. Because obviously, you know, you don't want him to be too Will Greery. Yeah, there we go. Made into a
Will
verb.
Greer, I like that.
Where you know
Will
that you're putting your defense in a position where don't get me wrong, Lan. I am definitely on the Will Greer train when it comes to being the backup. But you know you can understand where with this defense, you know this defense can keep you in games. So if you can have a guy that can at least manage the game and it's not turning it over, I mean you definitely have a chance. I've seen people win championships that way. So when you look at the other people. Practice squad. I saw Alex Lindstrom got brought over to the roster as well. So I like that move.
We talked about that, Phil. I told you, from what I saw in training camp, I liked what I saw. And people in the chat, just remember that name. I think Tyler Biadash's the tenure here may not be that long if he develops. If he can get stronger between now and this time next year, he might be the starter. He's that good, and he has a pedigree. His brother plays in the league, or did play in the league. Watch out for Alec Lindstrom.
Yeah, Mark Hutchins.
We were talking about it when they picked him up.
Yeah, Mark Hutchins is making a good point in the sense Cooper Rush is a pocket quarterback, does not like to run. That's the issue with the offensive line the way it is. I definitely could see that being a problem. He likes to hold on to the ball. He doesn't like to get rid of it unless there's something there. So, yeah, I could definitely see them giving up a lot of sacks to the Cincinnati defense, and that's where you're hoping the counterpart. Go ahead.
Yeah, not having mobility really limits you because so you're basically taking half of the field away, and if you're not mobile to actually use your feet to get any yards, well, then therein lies the problem, So whereas Dak can roll out, he can use his feet like he did last week. I thought he should have done it a little more, but you know, these design rollouts with Rush are a waste of time because he is no threat to run the ball. That's why I like Greer, just to add something else for the defense and say, well, if I come up, if I come up, then somebody's going to be open behind me. Or if I stay back, Greer will be able to get the first down or at least get some yards.
Yeah.
I'd go Greer, but they're going to give him one shot, Phil, just because he won the game last year, and he deserves it.
He does.
But I would have a short leash.
Yeah. I'm just, man, this one, I think what gets me is that this happened so early within the season. I mean, there were some things that you could see coming in, and like a Tyron Smith going down, but obviously Dak going down, I mean, that really changes a lot. Now, obviously, if it was the whole season that he was going down, that would be a whole different story, and your hopes kind of change a little bit. But, Cooper Rush just has to really manage the ship. Don't wreck it. Don't try to do anything special, but at the same time, I mean, go ahead.
Don't do what Dak did last week. I don't know what he was doing. He threw the ball right into the heart of the defense. That's why I said he was off. Just don't do that. Don't force the ball. At some point, I get it. If you're down, you gotta force the ball. But if the game is close, keep running the ball and play ball control and rely on that defense. That's what you're gonna have to do. And listen, I don't know if anybody noticed. I thought our special teams sucked last week. Our coverage unit was horrible. We keep talking about how great it is. It was horrible. I was talking about CJ Goodwin leaving. I think his better days are behind him. He didn't have a good game, and he's taking up a roster spot solely because of special team. And you didn't have a good game. Come on.
One thing I've noticed about the special teams of ours is that when one week is, not that great, the next week is actually pretty good, and so they tend to bounce back very well.
They kind of jinxed themselves.
Yeah,
like running their mouth about, the kick returner and having multiple touchdowns, which don't ever happen.
So as I was watching the game last year, the little highlights and stuff. To kind of familiarize, what exactly happened that game. Of course, you had Greg the Leg missing field goals, And I think that was a problem that you have. Now, hopefully, that might not, I could see that this offense stalling to where you would need that field goal kicker. Kellen Moore, I think he still scares me with his offensive play calling, and I don't really see it getting any better. So, I mean,
Limmer, man, what's up, buddy?
They talk about, now, do you believe in that whole press conference and it says, Mike McCarthy says he doesn't understand what's going on the offensive side, the lingo that's going on there?
Listen, Mike, FYI, your job is on the line. If this shit keeps up, you better start calling the plays. If you don't know the offensive terminology by now, then that's a problem. I'm just gonna keep it real. I mean, Jason Garrett, before he was fired, he said, I want to call the plays. At some point, if I don't anticipate it, being like this. I actually think they'll bounce back offensively. Whether they win is a different story, but this week I think is going to be tough. But listen, I've seen stranger things, but let's give Kellen a shot. Everybody forgets he did have the #1 overall rated offense last year. Whether I like the fact that they didn't have the right game plan for the playoff game, that was a bad thing. But
I would definitely blame a lot of the stuff that he had last week on him. So when it comes to the rest of the offense, when it comes to the receivers, what do you see there? I mean, they definitely needed to step up. You see CeeDee Lamb dropping passes. What do you see happening in the receiver
needs
core?
To catch the ball.
Yeah. Amen to that right there.
Well, you know who I missed?
Who?
Yeah, well, do you know who I really miss? I really miss Cedric Wilson. He added so much, and he made $7 million a year. We couldn't afford that. Listen, man, I think that would have been money well spent. He was always getting separation. He was a tall guy. He run in a slot. He's Noah Brown on steroids. Really, he's a better player than Noah Brown, and Noah Brown had the most catches on the team last week.
Yeah,
and I really wish we had Cedric, but going with what we have, I think you'll see Schultz. I think you'll see CD. I think you'll see all the tight ends. I think you'll see Ferguson involved. I think they're really going to use the tight ends this week. They're going to run the ball, and you'll see mainly CeeDee Lamb and Noah Brown for third down. But I think it was Pro Football Focus. They said our best receiver last week in getting open. He was ranked like 21st in the league. Was Simi Fehoko. Now he didn't get many reps, but CeeDee Lamb was in the 60s. He wasn't getting open. But remember I said this in the offseason? I said, I'm worried that when they shade CD's way, play a high-low on him or double cover, is he going to be able to get open?
Yeah, I tend to...
After week one, he hasn't.
Yeah, I see that he rounds out his routes a lot. I thought for some reason that he was a better route runner. He reminds me a lot of Des Bryant when it comes to that. So that kind of worries me. I guess I didn't know.
He would have learned.
Yeah, I thought so too. I mean, it's not really.
You would have thought he would have learned from Amari, because Amari was the ultimate route runner.
Yeah, and so that's kind of what baffles me. So when I see these other young guys, I see the receivers doing better, but I mean, can you get any worse? So I mean, dropping passes. I mean, the passes really didn't get too much to him. So I think you can only go up. So just jump to the chat. What do we have? We have to use 12 personnel. Man.
Listen, I don't give a shit if it's 12 personnel or 12 personnel. We need to use it. Right, Mark?
Yeah.
Shout out, Mark. We need to use it. I think this coach is allergic to it.
Yeah.
I really do. I think he had the #1 offense doing it his way, and he's going to do it, and it's going to work some weeks, and it's not going to work other weeks. But in a big game, it's not going to work. You have to be able to think on the fly, come up with a game plan that the other team is not expecting. This isn't the 1990 Cowboys where everybody in the stadium knew, that we were running the ball. Counter Trey. I mean, everybody knew what we were doing, but they couldn't stop it. This isn't that team. It's called game planning, and you need to outsmart the other. It's on the coaches. It really is. We have the players. It's on the coaches.
Yeah, I think it's also, I mean, you already have the offensive line that kind of makes the offense take a step backwards, where you get the, 1st and 15, 1st and 20, and then when you actually get a rhythm going, I mean, the last person you should be worried about is your offensive coordinator making you take step backwards. But it seems to be the kind of the rhythm that we're going down, and everybody talks about, the Dallas Cowboys were the only offense that didn't score a touchdown last week, and you have a really good quarterback there.
That's a headline, though. You know how that goes, Phil.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's definitely
that's
the top
how they
there.
go. That's what the pundits do.
So let's go on to more of the positive side. Let's talk about the defense, but let's not go too positive yet. Let's talk about Jamar. Let's talk about Jamar Chase, right? What do you think is going to happen when it comes to him on Sunday?
He's going to get his place, but mark my words. That Diggs is going to have an interception tomorrow. He's going to have an interception at the end. There's going to be pressure on Burrow. He will have an INT. I'm calling it because they're going to go to him, and rightly so.
Yeah,
he's a beast.
Him. Yeah, I see him getting a lot of yards as well.
This could be one of those deals. Now, Justin Jefferson would laugh at me, but where Chase may he may level off. I mean, he had such a good year last year. I don't know how he can match that this year, especially with the offensive line that they have. Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see. But I think he'll have his plays. He'll probably have 80, 100 yards. But I think Diggs is going to get an interception. I really do. So, hopefully it's at a time where we need it.
Yeah, we got Porter Rock in here joining us. What's going on, man?
Rock, what up, my man?
But I agree. I mean,
it's Saturday night. I know Rock.
So it looks like me and you are actually going against each other in the fantasy this week. Looks like you had a guy.
Yeah, that was a joke.
Hey man, you won. I didn't win that one.
I won by a half a point. Yeah, well, it's one of those things where you get caught up looking at what they tell you. Oh, this guy's gonna have a big week. Oh, this guy. I should never have played Mooney for the Bears in a mud
storm. Oh my god!
Whatever. Yeah, like in a monsoon. He didn't get me anything. Whereas Gibson had 20 points, and Cordero Patterson had 20 points. So if I would start either one of them, it wouldn't have been close. But if it's some butts for candy and nuts.
Yeah, I had Cooper as my flex, and he gave me 2 points, if that. So I'm thinking there's going to be something eventually that pops there over there in Cleveland. So as I distract us for a minute, I have to jump back on the defense now. Obviously, we talk about the offensive line of the Cincinnati Bengals. What do you think? Do you think there's going to be more guys on the headlines other than Micah Parsons taking some sacks here, doing some damage? Do you see us actually holding up the run?
It's going to have to be.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to have to be, but I want to see Micah Parsons line up over Lyle Collins. The water boy, where they're looking at it, is where's my bitch? Where's my bitch? There's my bitch, and then just go right over because he's talking a lot of shit. He's talking shit.
Jamar Chase is talking shit.
He didn't have a good game.
Yeah.
So, but D Law needs to step up and be more consistent. Anybody who's playing the D line, we need to stop the run. You know what you're going to get. People are going to go to the edges on us. I'm telling you, they're not going to go up the middle too much on us this year. Like last week, they're going to do the sweeps. You stretch out the play.
I saw the stretching. The stretching was what I saw that could be a problem, especially with our edges liking to get upfield. Which again, I don't blame them for that.
Yeah.
So that's where I see other guys where Sam Williams, that's a weakness of his, not being able to hold that edge. So there's some guys there. Fowler does a really good job. I mean, D-Law does do well, but again, like you said, he tends to disappear.
Fowler was a yeah,
exactly.
Speaking of Fowler, you brought him up. He did nothing last week. So, listen, if you're going to play for me, you need to make an impact. If not, I want to see the rookie in there more.
Yeah,
give me Sam Williams. At least he'll learn on the fly. Yeah, you already know what you're doing, bro. Make a play. But, like Mark had said, it was the Tampa Bay team.
Really
I'm holding hopes that they're that good defensively. You know what I mean?
Well, if you look at it,
Tom Brady
they had a really good defense. I mean, when you look across the board, you look at the defensive line, you look at the linebackers. I was very excited about going against to see what we did running wise, and to see we were doing really well with the run. It's just we got it, just ran away from it, and that's something that I saw with later on in the game when Tampa was driving down in that third quarter, and I was like, okay, well, if they score here, it's going to be kind of putting it away because. I mean, I got to give credit to the defense being able to hold Tom Brady and that Tampa team to the 3 points all the time. So that, the beginning 3 quarters.
Yeah,
so,
well.
Go ahead.
My prediction was 30-19. I had the 19 right, and I had the 3 right, but I didn't have that's all they had. I had 30. I really thought Dallas was going to come out. But I really hold the Kellen Moore responsible. I mean, I'm sorry, but the game plan was shit. And and they just never adjusted. They just kept trying to do the same thing. When a run would work, they wouldn't follow it up with another run. It was just frustrating, man. It's just throw that game away. I like we need a win. I don't care how ugly. I don't care if it's 6-3. We need a win, and then move on because I can't take many more weeks like that. That was rough. Yeah. So my question to you is: so whatever happened with Parsons on the ESPN show? Is the ESPN
I
show?
love that. I love
First
what
take.
he said. Yeah, undisputed.
Yeah, but is he not going to do it now, or?
Well, I don't
what?
know. You heard what he said when it came to it, that he wouldn't be much of a leader if he just lost his quarterback and is a heck of a situation in the locker room. I definitely like the answer. I think a lot of people are hung up on the fact that he's committed to doing this, and I mean, I'm not going to harp on him for that because obviously he's still young. He doesn't know, that whole media yet. And probably as soon as it happened, he was probably already told right away, hey, man, you made a big mistake there. So,
no, my first reaction is what you saying, Phil, is that he's immature and he should have been there. My second reaction was his excuse. His team needed him. Now, maybe his people should have said, hey, listen, after thinking about it, Mike could think, maybe he should have had his people say he ain't coming on. But the ultimate reason was a good reason. They didn't know they weren't expecting the game to go that way. It went from this team is going to be fighting with the Eagles for the division to, oh my God, we're horrible, and he had to rally the troops and he had to be in the locker room with his teammates as a leader. I don't have a problem with it. I actually respect him for it. It's just he's young. He didn't let them know and basically stood him up. You already know my take. I don't like those guys. I don't like those type of shows. I know it helps what we do and it stirs the pot. I don't watch it. I'll watch the clips when other people put it on, but I can't do it. Until we win a Super Bowl, I don't want to see that shit. Because as soon as we win a Super Bowl, then next year they're still going to be talking shit, but that's all right. I could deal with it because we got the hardware,
Yeah. So
I want to see Zeke get the ball more. Zeke, feed him.
So I like our chat here. Our chat's talking actually about food, and I can get definitely behind that. It's like Jack Meeker's wife made Chinese food. It's yummy. And so, what else? What jumped on this one? We got a Greek sub
Just
with
make sure
chili
you
and
eat
wings.
it, man, now, because Chinese isn't normally good when you reheat it, right? Isn't that how it goes?
I don't know.
I'll tell you one thing: you missed out on a Cuban. That Cuban was good, dude. I'm telling you, it was good.
Mark,
listen, it was a little sweet for me. Mark made it. I mean, he made like a sweet pork. I like a little more. I'm more of a sweet heat guy. But, dude, it was on point. I didn't eat that much that day, but I made sure. I mean, he had a slab. It was like that. It was nice.
Yeah, trust me.
He was cutting out
from
big,
the
caveman-sized slabs, and it was gone.
Yeah, we could see it from the TV. I was like, man, where's the Wonka vision when you need it, man? Like,
and if anybody ever knows, I was so far away from the chat on that side of the desk, I couldn't see it. Mark had his glasses. Me, I only need glasses to read, like real fine print, like pill bottles and small. But there's no way that I could keep up. I've never seen nothing like it. The chat was just flying, and he literally needs to hire somebody just to sit there and look at the chat,
Slow it down.
you know, for the super chats, because it's crazy. It really is. You could sit there and do that all day. And shout out to Mark Holmes. He's a beast, man. He is.
Yeah, he's constantly
Hardest working man in YouTube right there.
setting the bar. You want to be a YouTube content creator that can actually do some stuff. This is where you need to be. Right now,
Yeah, people want to run their mouth about him, but you know, if you don't put in the work, the bottom line is you're only going to be as successful as you put into it.
and I think that goes as well.
He has a job and he incorporates it. He does it perfectly. Yeah, me and you, we're busy. I work 50 hours this week, you know, so it's like I do it when I can, and we're getting our feet wet, but I'm loving it. It's fun.
What's going on, Cole's Cowboy? How's it
Cole's
going, man?
Cowboys, split up, my
So
man.
let me
We have
ask
to get
the
you back
chat.
on soon.
I gotta ask the chat. What do you guys think's gonna happen? What do you think the score is gonna be? Do you predict somebody's gonna get some interceptions? Somebody's gonna get some sacks? I want to hear what your prediction out of this game, so maybe we can refer back to it, and if we find out that one of you guys can actually predict this stuff, we'll try to bring you on here so you can make us look better. But what do you guys think gonna do? What do you think's gonna happen? Like, I would love to go in here thinking positively that we're going to come out of here with a win. But even with Dak in the lineup, I don't think I would have felt as comfortable still. Especially with the last two games that Dak has played, being obviously the Tampa game and then a San Francisco game before it. It's not the best two past games to kind of to bet my mortgage on. So I would probably go leaning more towards Cincinnati, but I do like the fact that I feel that Cooper Rush can move the ball. So I look at the score being something like 24-13 Cincinnati, but oh man, would I like to totally be wrong on this. What do you have happening in this game time?
Well, you know, my final score is in the mailbox, so we'll bring that out. I'm a Cowboy fan. I don't give a shit what that says. I'm rooting for the Cowboys, and I think they're going to win the game when we kick off. But my professional opinion is they're probably going to lose a close one. But again, when the game starts, I'm going to be sitting over there watching it. And
I want to be so wrong.
I ain't thinking about that.
Yeah, I want to be so wrong about everything about Cooper Rush, about Kellen Moore. I want Kellen Moore to shut us all up.
Yeah.
Because obviously he's not going to go anywhere. Jerry Jones is not going anywhere. He's too much of a prophet. As much as people would love for that to happen, it's just never going to happen. It's going to move down from family to family member.
Yeah.
So you might as well just soak it up and just deal with that part of it and just be ready to bitch when it comes to it. So what else?
I agree with Jack. I agree with Mary Alvarez. Mary, that's the type of game that we're gonna have to have in order for us to win. We need a dominating defense tomorrow. Trust me, that's what we need, and a special team. And the offense with the lead can be like, you know, we go back to it. You give me a 10-point lead, and then we feed Zeke, and then we play off of that with the play action. That's how you win the game. I see an avenue tomorrow of actually winning the game.
Yeah.
I can't pick it, but I do see it. So I'm thinking, and you know, I'm going to say he's going to go over. Believe it or not, the over/under is only 42. It's 42 and 7.5. 7.5. Dallas is a 7.5 point home underdog. So.
Yeah,
That's scary, right?
Yeah, exactly. But
Glimmer Man, Dallas pulls this out by 3. I want to rush to shrug the play calling and do his own audibles. Yeah.
I do like the fact that it's
man.
not later in the day. It's not on a Monday night that we have to watch every single team, you know, before we play.
Yeah.
I want to just get it out of the way. I want to see what happens. You know, I want Cooper Rush to obviously do the Minnesota, because honestly, when it came to the Minnesota game, I didn't give Cooper Rush credit as all either. I mean, I did think that they were going to possibly win that game, but I didn't think he was going to throw for 300 yards. So the fact that he did, that's some positive stuff. So what else we got going on in the chat?
Jack makes a good point. Yeah, Jack makes a good point. He says Burrow is a drop back passer where like Brady gets rid of the ball in 2.3 seconds, which I did say. like you may not have a lot of sacks. You just need to be in his face up the A gap. This guy is like similar, but is not as fast getting rid of the ball. He likes to sit back there and tap the ball, and that's why he's going to take some hits. So yes, we need to be more aggressive, Jack. We need to, it's going to put our D-backs and our secondary. It's going to be rough because we could give up a big play or two, but it might be worth it if we can get a big play and get that lead. So that's how I'm rolling.
Well, I think we're going to
just
roll
still
pretty
upset
close
that
to that.
Tolbert's not active.
Yeah, I'm curious to what's going on.
I'm just very frustrated with that.
Yeah.
He's a third-round pick, man. Who do we have that's Houston? Houston didn't look like – Houston was like one of them guys who has a great preseason, and then what, So you get the young guys in there. Get our high picks in.
Yeah, and you got some people in the chat here probably jump in the same thing. Will Ridgeway be able to survive this wave before we can pick him back up on the practice squad? Do you think so? You think somebody's not going to just jump for him?
Yeah. No. He will. Everybody's got the people that they love, and Dallas has been pretty good with cutting people and bringing them back. Normally, the people that we lose comes back to hurt us. So.
I agree. Definitely agree on that one.
I mean, we are deep in that. Like we are deep on the line. So I mean, I wouldn't have done it. I probably would have, put the veteran out there again. But whatever. I'm not running their team.
As we're talking about veterans as well, when do you see actually Jason Peters being moved into the rotation on the roster?
Next week.
You see it
next week, I think he'll be available. I think he needs 2 weeks.
Okay.
I think next week.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair
I think
to say
on the
as well.
road. I think you're going to need him on the road. It's a different atmosphere on the road. I think you're going to need his veteran leadership on the line.
One thing I did
we'll see how it goes tomorrow.
One thing I did see this week, which I thought was a very big positive, is that you saw Michael Gallup actually running 7-on-7s. And so, hey, it's definitely a step up. So I imagine 7-on-7s right there. Where I thought he might come back next week, I think it's gonna be next week too. Yeah.
And Glimmer Man, Ridgeway is my pet cat. Listen, man, you guys are in store. If you hang with us, come draft time, me and Phil are pretty good on the draft. I take pride in learning these guys before they come into the league, and we both liked them. Yeah, big guy, trash can full of dirt type of guy, nasty. Listen, I mean, everybody needs nasty, right? I think that's what wins. He just needs to, get a little. I mean, I just think he needs some more seasoning. I wish he was a part of the team, but I think he'll be back.
Yeah, I agree as well too. So
yeah, I think Jack's right. Giants getting Peters and Gallup. That's what I think. I think we need that.
Yeah, that would be a good warm up type of game as well too. So I mean, not saying that the Giants aren't worthy of anything. I mean, you did see them, pull a pretty close one last week. So I mean, they are capable of stuff, and I thought you saw that the year before, and they just improved their line. So I think I think there's a possibility that Gallup could. I think I still want to push Gallup, another week past. Who's after that? Is that the Commanders? I think after that. So
no, I think that's in 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think
right?
somebody's going the Chargers,
Let me see.
the Rams, something like that. I thought it was the Commanders afterwards. But I'm interested to see how he kind of changes this whole thing. I didn't think. I mean, I'm looking back. I hear a lot of people kind of talking.
It's the Giants, and then the Commanders.
Okay, yeah. So I saw a lot of people talking badly about Steele, not being able to hold his own out there.
Game.
So, I mean, when I looked in the beginning, I didn't think, Dak was taking on a whole lot of pressure, but I guess I was totally wrong because by the time I looked back, there was a whole lot of pressure there. And so, again, I think we've always mentioned that this team offensively, when it comes to the offensive line, is definitely way better run than they are the passing. And I think this, everything points to run the freaking ball,
yeah, well, I think what happened was Steele during the game wasn't horrible. When they got down and they were put into, to where they had to pass more, then you saw the penalties. He needs to get his act together. I don't know what happened. His first year was his best year. Last year was not good. We set out maybe because they, flip-flopped him on the line. It wasn't good. He needs to play better or he ain't going to be playing. So I just hope they do the right thing, though. Stop saying, it's almost like the Cowboys brass are afraid to be wrong and admit it, so they're going to keep guys out there. At some point, the guy ain't getting the job done. He's going to need to be pulled. Now, don't get me wrong. Lyle had a horrible game, so I don't have a problem with Steele being the guy. He just needs to play better.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're going to say that about a lot of offensive linemen here. And I'm hoping that they can at least keep this together for the season because, it needs to be done just like the defense was, where we're able to put all these picks and all this resources into the defense to kind of get the defense the way it is. And it's almost, by the time you got that defense the way that you kind of want it, the offense is not balanced. It's not, pulling its weight. And, where the offense last year, everybody quick to remind you that this was a top offense. We had a top offense, but we had a lot of problems. So it kind of, you wonder what the potential could have been.
Yeah, numbers can be
very deceiving,
misleading at times. And that definitely was, the case last year. Jack Meeker said that Dallas against the Eagles. Dak against the Eagles. I'm thinking
that's a possibility.
I'm thinking.
I wouldn't bring him back for the
very
Rams.
much a possibility. That's a rough place to go back, but he owns the Eagles. The Eagles are his bitches, right? Mm-hmm. He owns the whole division. So I would like to get him back for the Chargers to get a little. Get one under his belt and then roll into the Eagles. That's what I would like, but we may not have the choice. I think he'll be back by the Eagle game, but
we'll see.
I want him. We need him back. So I don't care what happens tomorrow. We need Dak back.
So I think, like you said, I think to summarize it, I think, we all have our frustrations. We know what our weaknesses are. We're not going into this blindly. We don't think we're going to blow them out, but it would be such a great surprise if it happened. We saw Bryan definitely points out a very good fact in the sense that there is an avenue. There's a way that you can win this game. Now, all the stars have to align, and the defense has to do its job. The offense just has to run the damn ball and just make some plays when you need to. And I think that's a recipe right there for a hell of a game. So, can Kellen Moore do it? Can he actually stick to a game plan that doesn't have reverses? And
I think they're going to play good tomorrow.
I hope so.
I think they're going to play good tomorrow.
I really hope so.
I think they are because everybody, unfortunately, the public is normally wrong when it comes to these type of situations in a betting aspect. I could see Bengals going 0-2, losing the Super Bowl, high expectations. They're the 0-2 team.
Yeah.
Somehow I could see Dallas winning the game. My heart is saying they can win the game. So I think it's going to be closer than people think. I think if it's not close, then Greer's starting the next week, and it's must-win territory.
Yeah. It'll be a little bit more manageable.
Let's not think that way.
All right, Bryan. Well, I am going to start cutting it there as we kind of got that frustration out, and we'll be back. Actually, I want to try to do it the day after the game. That way the frustrations are still there. So if we're going to cut somebody out, it's going to be there. So tell me, Bryan, what the official mail time, game time Bryan's prediction is.
Mailman. Game time Bryan, otherwise known as the mailman, delivering the score. Listen, I hope I'm wrong here. I really do. I think I'm doing the people justice by giving the score. But I think it could be the other way around. But gun to the head with a sad face. Bengals 23, Dallas 20.
Okay.
So I like Dallas plus the 7.5 over the 42.
There's the mailman prediction, different from Bryan Green. I want you to understand. There's two different alter egos that you need to separate. But I want to try doing the next
23-20. I think is a good score either way.
Yeah, I like it. I could definitely see the defense is doing their thing. I see the offense doing just enough to actually put some. Can we get a touchdown this week? So go ahead, Bryan. Tell them where tell the people where they can find you if they haven't already.
GameTime Bryan on YouTube and on Twitter. You know, you just
Give it a hit. Give it a hit. Yeah,
like and subscribe, and I would appreciate it. You'll find me here every Saturday, and whenever Phil wants to go live, we're probably going to try and slip in like midweek. I'll throw it out there on Twitter and try and let everybody know. Just look for it. I'll even tag in. I'm sure Angela, she's probably, and Jack are probably tired of me tagging them, but you know, you guys can get the word out for me as well.
I love that you do that, man. Trust me, I appreciate that a lot, man. So as that, I did another editing as I did the entrance because obviously Dak Prescott wasn't in there. So I'm going to give you another very weird ending video. So thank you guys for joining, and of course we'll be back on Monday to give us the updates of what we thought of the Bengals game, and of course Saturday. So we're going to try to make this consistent, and so you guys can definitely join in and give us your opinions about what happened. So again, Meatloaf, I appreciate you guys coming in. Game Time Bryan, Primetime Phil, thank you for joining us, guys.
The Meatloaf.
How about a hug? Oh, I hate goodbyes.
See ya. I see you first.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Bye-bye, boys.
Have fun storming the castle.
Think it'll work?
Goodbye.
I'm no good at goodbye.